Morning, guys. It is Tuesday morning, March 20th. We got the Bedliner fixed in this 80 Chevy pickup. I've got it all bagged up right now, but basically we sprayed just in. You can see a little line of where it's a little shinier there, and I didn't clean way back into there. Repaired that liner. That was about 3 hours worth of grinding with the 24 grit disc, getting in all the ribs, getting it all cleaned out. I was a little discouraged yesterday with the not being able to upload to YouTube, so I did not make a video of going on to this, but I tried re-uploading one of the ones from the weekend and everything was back to normal. So I'm going to make you guys a video today of a little paint blend. So this is done. This has been taken down to bare steel, the first probably 3 feet into the bed, not the wheel houses, but everything on the floor 3 feet in, etch primed, flashed off, and then Raptor liner applied to that. And one thing with that Raptor liner, and you know, I'm a guy, I don't read directions, but the last time I applied one, it wasn't Raptor, it was another company, Autobahn or something like that. They were like $60 kits. Well, Supply House only had the Raptor liners, which was fine with me. And you apply that with a Schutz gun. I read the directions and they tell you to flash this material off an hour per coat and avoid excessive coating of it, wet coating it. Well, in order to get the texture, you can't make it wet or else it won't build up, it'll just melt together. So I let it flash off the hour. It was 70 in the shop yesterday, and their recommendation was ideal temperature of 68 degrees. So we were right in that zone. You definitely want to bag a vehicle when you spray this stuff in a bed, or it will be, you'll get dots of it that just show up randomly that'll get on stuff. So that's done. I'll take you to the side here. And I think the camera will pick it up. There's a light spot in it right there, and that was a sand, I don't want to call it a sand through when we wet sanded this truck originally, but I tried to brush touch it and sand that out, and it ended up being transparent again. So what we did, we pulled the inner molding for the window back, we scuffed all these edges, it's back taped along this edge, and I built a little tent here and a little tent here to let the overspray fall down, and I've scuffed about 4 inches past where the top of these tents start. And we're going to put one coat and cover that area, and then we're going to bring a second coat more over reduced and fan it that way and fan it that way. And then I will pull these tents off and take some straight reducer and try and dust those edges out so I have minimal buffing on that. I've never done a single stage blend before. I've only done clear coat melts, and you're dealing with straight color here instead of clear, you know, whereas if you sand it, the color is going to change a little bit when you sand it. So I'll show you what I got going. I have to go get some hardener for my enamel paint here. I have some, but I used Marhide wet look hardener on the truck. I want to use the same hardener on this. But we've got that. That is Centauri acrylic enamel. The code is 5285. This is a 1980 Chevy automobile color. It is cardinal red, even though it says 1977. They used this color for a long time. It almost looks orange. I don't think the lid's going to come off, but that is the color of the truck. This was my half a gallon left over from painting originally, and we're going to use a mid-temp reducer, the 8022. So I'm going to go get some hardener and run some errands, and I will be back and we will set you guys up for that. My camera stand isn't real tall, and I'm not going to hold the camera while I do it because I'm a little nervous about it. So I'll just set you guys up on the stand, and I hope you can see kind of what I'm doing. I'll zoom it in as best I can and aim it up, but it's just kind of a rough area to get into. So there's our material. I'm going to go get the hardener, and we're going to mix up a teeny bit of that and put that in the detail gun. Against my better judgment, the thing's only got a .8 tip in it, but I should be able to do what I need to do. I just don't want to over reduce that paint too much because it'll end up being transparent. So we'll go with it. Alright guys, we got our supplies. We're going to get some paint mixed up here. This is the hardener. Focus, Marhide wet look hardener. This 3M owns Marhide. I like using that hardener for enamel paint. It's expensive as hell. That little half pint is 17 bucks. So a full quart of it is like 40 bucks or something, or 50 bucks, which is, you know, normal for that sort of thing, but it is what it is. So out of here. Boy, that looks ugly. Just stirred it an hour ago. That's one thing about paint. It doesn't have an indefinite shelf life, especially enamel. Base coat lasts for a long time. This stuff does not. I'm just going to mix up a teeny tiny bit. We're going to mix it 4 to 1 to 1. Centauri has a couple different mix ratios, but the stuff is, I mean, as you can see, it's thick. So you can mix it 8 to 1 to 2 or 4 to 1 to 1. And without any activator in it, it's 3 to 2. So it's almost 1 to 1 with no activator in it, which is strange, but trying to get those pigments to stay suspended in there. I suppose I could shake it a little bit here and see what transpires. And I did a spray out yesterday of that Shoreline Mist metallic for that Acura that's coming, and put some 30 clear on it. That was about a 3-coater to cover, because I had these spray out cards. I should have done a video of it. Boy, now I'm trying to remember where my spray out cards are. Oh, here they are. For those of you who don't know what a spray out card looks like, it's basically a cardboard piece of paper, half as black and half as white with a hole in the middle, and you spray your coats on that until you can't see that line between the black and the white, and then you have a hole in the middle. Here's the finished product. You can hold that over the paint and stand back and look at it and see if it's a blendable match. I'm hoping it is. I bought the paint, and according to the matrix formula, there are no variants for that color. They didn't list a chip deck or anything for it, so I'm hoping that's the case. And even if there was, you know, 1 or maybe 2 variants, hopefully they're close enough to one another that I can put some 500 color blender in that and get away with it. That's the goal at least. So I'm going to put the lid back on this thing. Can's kind of dented up on the side, so I'm hoping that that lid will stay on it well enough so it's not spraying paint everywhere when I start shaking it. I don't have a paint shaker. I'd like to get one, but it's kind of one of those not a necessity items for me. It'd be handy, but normally I don't beat the lids on with paper either. Alright, let's see what happens here. Stuff, the pigments end up settling in the bottom over time, especially the heavier toners. can is boogered up. I guess that looks mo better. These are the days when I wish I had a mixing lid for my gallon can here. Let's see. 411. And we ain't mixing much. It's probably too much. Well, that worked out good. Just mix it to the number 1 line. That'll give me 3 ounces when I'm all said and done. I don't think these hardeners say to shake them, but we'll shake it anyway. It's been a long time since I've used it. This kind of stock doesn't exactly fly off the shelves. So we're gonna just make double sure. Should be that, and then a little reducer, which I'm going to dump in another clean mixing cup because I'm trying to do that little bit of reducer in that. And then I'll have a little extra reducer in the cup here that I can over reduce that with when I go to do my blend. That should be more than enough for this job. I love the smell of this Centauri paint. She's got, and it's the hardener too. The hardener's got a pretty neat smell to it. That's that. Let's see what that consistency ends up being. When I sprayed this truck, I ended up turning this stuff into basically water, which is not the right way to spray it. But that HVLP gun, even with the 1.5 tip, it was a joke. You wind the air pressure up as much as you want, and all you ended up with was overspray. It just wouldn't flow out. I put smoothie in it. Some guys hate smoothie. The first time I ever painted single stage, I think it was Sherwin-Williams, probably back in 1991. The guy that taught me how to paint single stage said in every quart put a dropper full of smoothie in it. It comes in a little eyedropper bottle. I'm pretty sure I don't even have any at this point, and I'm not really so concerned about fisheye. Smoothie helps the flow out of the pillow. I do have some smoothie. That's smoothie right there. And it's basically a fisheye eliminator. And it causes the paint to flow out, is what it does. And I'm not going to use any. It's too little of an amount. I'm positive there's not going to be any fisheye problems on this. So, we'll get this mixed up here. And we'll see where we're at. I'll set you guys up when I start painting. Alright guys, what we're going to do here, first coat, my light area that needs coverage is from where my hand is here to here. It's only about a 2-inch strip. So I'm going to cover that. I'll walk away, probably wait 20 minutes. Enamel paint takes a while to tack up, and then I'm going to put a second coat on it and come down a little farther, and then maybe a third. We'll see how it goes. I may only have to do 2, but I may do a third and over reduce it and come down to my blend line and knock that off with some enamel reducer. I think I said urethane reducer earlier, so let's see what we got. That didn't even cover it. So I'm going to go hang the gun up real quick. That's real light. I can see right through it. hello, zoomed in too far. But let's see if I can point my finger into this somewhere. That top edge right there is still light, so that's going to take another coat, but I have to let this flash off. So we're going to let that flash off. And we'll put another coat and come just a little bit farther out. And back up. It's like extreme close-up. But you can see I didn't go very far with that color coat. So I am going to come out just a tad farther with my next one, maybe 1 inch farther past that dry area. And then hopefully, I guess it's probably going to take 3 to do this. So we'll see how this all pans out, but that should do it. So alright, that flashed off faster than I thought. It's only 70 degrees in here right now, but or 65 degrees in here right now, but that flashed off really quick. It's not stringing at all anymore, so I need to get a new high flow coupler for this thing. Alright, so I'm going to go over that same area and come out just a little bit farther to try and hide that. That is not stringing now. That's almost hidden. It's going to take that 3 coats that I said it would originally, so we'll give that a couple more minutes and hit it again. Maybe I'll just keep you guys rolling here. I'll go hang the gun up. Oh man, I got these high flow couplers on my hoses here, and let me back that zoom out so it's not extreme zoom in here. I got these couplers on the hoses, and it's pretty good. It's still, I'm catching some sort of funky reflection there. This hose, I believe it was last year. I was painting a Jeep, like a 99 or 98 Wrangler, so I guess that'd be a TJ. Got a fisheye in my front fender when I was painting it. Now, it was an aftermarket fender and I had sealed it, but I thought I had something in my airline itself because I have the toilet paper filter and all that. So I had taken this air hose all apart and I had put a power purple or an orange cleaner or something in there, and I made an adapter up and hooked it to the faucet and put hot water in it and flushed and flushed and flushed it. And I might have even dumped some lacquer thinner through it. Well, it screwed up the O-ring inside this coupler, and it is a bitch to get on and off. And sometimes when you release it, the air continues to squirt out of it, so you don't dare pull it off next to a vehicle. I do have another coupler. These were from TP Tool, so I don't know if they're a Milton coupler or who makes them. They don't say Milton on them, so they may be Chinese. I don't know what they are. But at any rate, I was going to buy a new one at the store the other day at the body supply store. And they had the ones, I think they're Prevost or something, makes this particular one. And there's a button on the side, a quick release. Well, I started rooting through the male plugs on their shelf just to see how it released. And I don't know if it was a non-high flow coupler or what, but for whatever reason, that plug would not go in there. One thing you can do though is I have my little pocket blowgun here, and my regular M-style air fitting will go in this. It fits really goofy, but it will seal up. But there's something boogered up with that O-ring, so I do need to change this coupler. And I have a shorter hose. This is a 50 footer. I have a 25, and the 25 is not long enough from my wall just to the middle of the shop here, which isn't very far. You end up hanging yourself with it. And the other thing is, with this thing being messed up, if the only thing I run the high flows on is my paint guns. One thing that I've had happen, I had it happen last year with another hose. The coupler where the crimp is from the hose to the male pipe thread fitting on it, it broke. And you want to talk about a horny snake whipping around your shop. 100 psi blowing out of that 3/8 air hose. These are 5/16 I believe, but this was just one that I would use on air tools and stuff. That thing started whipping around the shop, and luckily I was just painting something stupid like for a piece of equipment or whatever, and it blew some dust around or whatever, but holy shit, try and catch one of those when it blows loose. I'd like to hear if anybody's got any stories about one of these bad boys coming park the paint booth and whipping the piss out of you and the car. That would be an absolute horror story. I could not imagine. So, yeah, one more coat's going to cover that. As soon as that's wet. Yeah, that's going to take a couple minutes. So, I don't know. I don't know what else I got going on here. I'm going to wait for that Acura to come in at the end of the week. And that dump truck for next week, and the other pieces parts for my buddy's car I gotta paint. Hopefully have those by the weekend, just so I can have them in my hot little hands. The Acura I'm supposed to get on the 22nd, probably in the afternoon. So today's the 20th, that's Thursday afternoon, and the gentleman is coming back by like the following Wednesday, I believe it is. So I'm hoping that I don't get into a real nightmare with getting my patches welded in that, because as we saw on the other Acura, it was the inner structure and outer, and I want to make sure that my welds are good and sealed up so that we don't have any water penetration. It's inevitable, I guess, at times that a pinhole will pop up somewhere in your weld. But that's why we tap them in and put fiberglass body filler on them. So we'll see what happens with that one. Hopefully I can get it quick. I showed you the spray out card of that color. That matrix base sprayed nice. It covered quick for a silver gold color, faster than the Metalux I was spraying. They did say that they would leave the binder out for me on that Metalux if I wanted to use that, but they mixed the matrix for me. The price was the same, and I'm pretty happy with how quick it actually covered, so we're just going to go with that. Oh yeah, that is still stringy. So hopefully that next coat I can bring it down just a hair farther, maybe an inch past where that one is, and that will be coverage, and I can blend that edge off with solvent. Hopefully I can do it with the tent up right here and here. I mean, I suppose I can pull them off and turn my air pressure down. What I'm going to do is not clean the gun out. I'm just going to dump the paint out of it, and whatever little bit is left in it, dump a little reducer in that, cut the air pressure back and mist it, and what the hell, I don't make a mess out of it. I could probably blend that edge up without doing anything. I may just do this coat and then see what it looks like, and then maybe dump a little more reducer in it, 50 to 100% reducer to paint ratio. We'll go with that. Alright, I'm going to cut you guys loose. This is going to get long for a silly little repair, so. Okay, it's still a little sticky, but we're going to go for it here. So I'm going to come down just a touch farther. I'm going to leave you guys rolling. I'm going to put a little reducer in this and come down toward my intended area and do that just real quick. Alright, I believe I have coverage there. I'm going to go reduce this down and do a little bit 4x10. And that should be that. Should be able to blend that that off. That's really not what I would call dry spray. I may go straight reducer here for 1 second and do a little melt on that. I don't have much area to cover here, so. Well, I don't know that I'd use the word undetectable, but that's going to work pretty good. That would be something above. Let's give that a little bitty scuff and buff. Maybe tomorrow, I don't know. We'll see how hard it is tomorrow when I get it outside here later after it's out of dust, but and we just have a little dry there and a little dry there. I probably shouldn't have put so much in there. That looks like that's melting back in, but that should be good. Definitely not completely undetectable. I hope it buffs out good, but it's covering that light spot up at the top, and that was my main concern. A little tiny bit of a halo I guess I'll deal with. So that'll be that. So we'll get the gun cleaned out here. Make sure that zooms back out. And we'll wait a little while and we'll go ahead and take that and pull it out, so get it unbagged and take it outside when it's out of dust for a little while. Maybe I'll wait till early afternoon to do that. It's only like 10 o'clock in the morning. So I was able to pick up 3 more cans of that SEM gun wash. So I'm pretty excited about that. I got some of that on the shelf now. So we'll get the old gun cleaned up here. Definitely want to make sure I get the paint out of this thing. It's working good now. I found one thing with painting Centauri, that if I just learned it here recently, and I practiced on it when I did this today, to close up on your distance, you know, choke up on your bat, they say, so that you're putting it on wet. Because if you dry spray this stuff, you'll have a mess on your hands. You won't have enough film built to wet sand and buff, and it's not, enamel paint is a pain to buff anyway. The guys that used to do these spot repairs back when there was nothing but Centauri and other enamel paints were true artists, in my opinion. I don't know how they did it. The guy that used to live up the street from me growing up, he did a conversion van that my dad owned. It was an 87 GMC. And it was like a dark bronze and a lighter, maybe a pewterish gold color, kind of like that Acura, and it had the stripes in it, the multiple stripes, and the big windows in the back, and the windows rusted around the edges on the back and all that, and we had a dent in one of the side doors, and it was right in that stripe, and I don't know how he did it, but he did a absolute flawless job on this thing with Centauri of repairing the dent and putting the stripe back in it. It was incredible. Like I said, I mean, in my opinion, those guys are artists that can do that kind of stuff. I'm not that practiced, and I guess when you work with a paint system that long, you know all the ins and outs and tricks of how to do it, and it's all about practice, practice, more practice, and even more practice when it comes to that sort of stuff. So I'll get this all cleaned up here. I'm going to let this soak for a little bit, clean up my cap, and that's going to be that. So maybe I'll give you guys a shot of it after I get it cut and buffed, but that won't be till tomorrow. So see ya.